You can also read a full replica of the newspaper on your Android-powered smartphone, on Apple's iPhone, or on your laptop. We have a solution for any device. E-Edition is free for subscribers, or just $7.99 a month. The Bakersfield Californian. We're everywhere and anytime. Subscribe today. Bakersfield.com.
From the Dignity Health Studios of the Bakersfield, California, it's time to open up with real people, real talk about real stuff. And now, a special welcome to our friends throughout California, across the nation, and around the world to this week's edition of Open Up.
Indeed, welcome.
Yes, welcome. I'm Tina Miller, and this is Dawn Clark. Thank you so much for joining in today. I have a wonderful show lined up,
my
but
goodness.
first of all, we want to thank Chuck and Wendy Noss, Nature's Food Market and Juice Bar, our dear friends.
Oh, yes.
So educated in matters of health, and so
And
thanks.
a big move coming up for them.
Wonderful. Yes, Dawn, coming up really soon, and we want to be there, right?
Right.
And again, thanks to Denise.
And the big
Yeah.
move is they're moving into the old Henley's building,
Yes,
right
yes.
across the street from the Fox Theater. They were kind of tucked away in a corner, and now they're going to be out there where everybody can easily get to them. Drive-through window.
Drive through,
Yeah.
yes. For those of you who don't want to get out of your cars, drive right on through. That might not be good. Our guest might want to share something about that. But anyway, thank you to Denise Haddock, Interior Designs. Lovely spring arrangement here.
Isn't that lovely?
Yes, Dawn. And Dawn, these last couple of days or a few days, you have been, and I have for the last 2 days, been listening to our guests doing lectures and
Yes.
providing samples of healthy eating
Yes,
and
yes.
educating us on the matters of health.
Yes, this show is about your health, our health.
Yes.
And for all of you who are watching outside of Kern County, we hate to say this, but Kern County actually has some of the worst health statistics in the nation in terms of obesity, asthma, heart attack, cancer, the whole range of diseases. We're not doing well. And so Tina and I have really decided we're going to dedicate at least part of this show over the years and weeks and months to really trying to turn this around, addressing these issues and coming up with real solutions. And
Yes.
that's why today we are so excited to have with us one of the world's premier experts on nutrition, on health. This is Dr. J.R. Scharfenberg. For 56 years, I think, John, you have been an adjunct professor of nutrition at Loma Linda University, which has always been at the forefront, cutting edge of health issues. John is 90 years old, and yet traveling the nation almost as soon as he leaves here. He's off to Europe for 5 months for lectures almost every day throughout the former Eastern Bloc. And John, we have so enjoyed your lectures each evening, and so what we want to do with you today is share with the world what you've been sharing with the group here in Bakersfield. So welcome. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Welcome to Open Up. So,
Well, let's start out this way. Why don't we go right to the core? You are saying that right now there is a major breakthrough in our understanding of how to maintain, achieve good health, how to cure and reverse disease. That ranks almost with the discovery of penicillin and germs, washing one's hands. So let's start out right at the core of the thing.
There is this big breakthrough, and I'm amazed that people haven't heard about it. The Heart Association has talked about it, but they came out with these 7 risk factors. If you live up to these things, you can reduce your risk of a heart attack or a stroke by 80%. You can reduce your risk of getting diabetes by 88%. Does it work for cancer? Yes, but not as well. Maybe only 40%.
All right.
Okay? But for heart disease, which is our major killer, and then stroke, you add that together, that's a big deal. And we could lower that risk of getting those things by 80%, better than any medicine could do. No medicine could do that.
I'll take those odds. So how do we do it? Walk
All
us
right.
through it.
Number 1, smoking.
All right.
Stop smoking. Now, the U.S. has done a relatively good job of that. Only about 16% of our adults in this area smoke. That's pretty good. You go over to Europe, 40% of the men are smoking. A third of the doctors are smoking. So it's still a big problem over there. So the U.S. has done quite well. Now, how did we do that? Raise the taxes. That worked better than anything else, raising the taxes. And then regulating in the area, you can't smoke in public buildings. You know, gradually increasing those regulations to wider areas. Now, how about smoking at home with your children? Would that be child abuse? Stop and think about that a minute. 1 out of 5 children, 13 to 15 years of age, around the world, smokes. You ask them, are you going to be smoking 5 years from now? Oh, no. 90% say no.
Right.
But 5 years from then, 95% are still smoking. And by the year 2020, the World Health Organization estimates that we will have 10 million people die every year from tobacco smoke.
10 million people every year.
Yeah. So number 1 is stop smoking if you smoke. Number 2,
That would mean in 3 years we'd wipe out the population of California
That's
just
right.
from smoking.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Now, the next factor is alcohol. A lot of people think alcohol is okay, but it isn't. Every time you drink, you knock out a brain cell. You know, social drinkers have 21% less Purkinje cells in their cerebellum, which has to do with coordination. So, would you get in an airplane if the pilot had just had a drink?
Well, if we knew it, no.
No, you wouldn't want to do that. You have delayed reaction time, all kinds of problems. So a pilot is not allowed to smoke for to drink for 24 hours before he gets off with the plane. 24 hours. Stewardess is 8 hours. Okay. But really, we got to get over this alcohol problem. We have a big problem. It increases blood pressure and causes cancer, of the liver.
Now, is it, when you say about the alcohol or drinking, is it a certain amount that matters? Or
Well, here's what the official recommendation is.
Okay.
If you've never, ever taken any alcohol, never, ever drank anything, don't ever begin. That's the official recommendation. If you are drinking, cut back. No more than 1 drink a day for women and 2 drinks a day for men, okay? Now, for women, I was in a place the other day, oncologists, specialists in cancer treatment.
Right.
And they had all this educational material, and I was looking at breast cancer one. They had all the risk factors except alcohol.
I wonder
And we know a little alcohol for a woman increases the risk of breast cancer. So I asked the oncologist, how'd that get left out? He said it's a political thing.
Wow.
It's a political thing. So really, you've heard that little alcohol was good for you? Not really true.
Okay.
The Center for Disease Control, they're in Atlanta, Georgia, they have said, we think that's all bogus information. If they actually checked it out real thoroughly with all the risk factors combined, we don't think even a little alcohol does anybody
Wow.
any good.
Wow.
And so even red wine fits into that category?
Yes, it does. Now, if you want what they think is good in the wine, you can get it in red grape juice. Red grape juice can raise your HDL cholesterol, that good kind, So,
Red grape juice.
So it's smoking, it's alcohol.
Now, before we leave alcohol, I remember in your lecture, I think it was last night, you said that radiologists, when they're looking at comparing and contrasting human brains between those who drink and those who don't,
Yes.
can actually tell who the social drinkers are. Explain that.
Yes, it knocks out brain cells, and the brain gets a little smaller. So this is the problem, and most radiologists can tell that difference.
Okay.
How interesting.
So, number 3.
All right, number 3, inactivity. World Health Organization states that probably 2 million people die every year around the world because of lack of exercise. And that is a big problem. Now, we've been preaching exercise in this country for many years.
Right.
We aren't exercising any more than we did before. We haven't gotten anywhere on this, which is too bad. You see? Now, let me give you a statistic. A study that was done. that really shows the importance of exercise. If you are a man and you're physically fit because you've exercised, but you smoke, you have high blood pressure, you have high blood cholesterol, you will still live longer than the man who doesn't have any of those things who doesn't exercise.
Wow.
Isn't that interesting?
That shows you how important exercise is.
Does that hold true for women?
That's true also for women. Yes. You know, you need to exercise at least 30 minutes a day, everybody.
Every day.
But if you're overweight, 60 minutes,
Okay.
90 minutes,
Okay.
at least.
And what kind of exercise do you
Yes.
recommend?
Well, I like useful exercise.
And by that you mean?
And that means that does away with a lot of these sports and competitive games and things. To me, that's gardening. That's what I do.
Gardening?
Gardening. And I chop my own wood for heating the house. We heated our home with wood, you know, and I did it all by hand until I got to be about 80, 85. I thought it's time to get a wood splitter. But I used to do it all by hand.
The doctor's 90 now, and it just, Doctor, you're a world traveler, but you're a Californian. Tell us about your home. That's interesting.
Well, actually, I grew up in China. My first 16 years were over there. I speak some Chinese. But I came to the States, and there was a cultural shock. I wanted to get back to China right away. I was amazed at being shocked by the U.S. lifestyle. You know, I wanted to get back to China. But anyway, I've gotten used to the U.S. pretty well now. It's culture shock to go the other way right now. But we decided we'd teach health. I knew the best thing to do was to teach prevention.
Yes.
I had friends who were so good. They were good surgeons. They could cut out thyroids. They were known for that. And I said, how stupid. Why don't they give the people iodine so they don't get big thyroids and goiters?
Wow.
You see? Let's prevent the thing.
Prevention, yes.
But there's no, money in it. and you don't get any fame in it. Nothing like that. But I thought that's what I should do. And so I did. Now, I know there's several different areas I could have gotten into. Mental health. I haven't seen a lot of good from people practicing in those areas. Okay, I could have gotten into physical fitness. That would have been good. Excepting I was interested in the religious, spiritual aspects of things. And when people think about physical fitness, they're thinking about sports.
Okay.
I could have gotten into what my father got into, tobacco and alcohol. Temperance, we called it. He started the first international congress on smoking and health. And it's still going. About every 5 years, they have this international conference. And my dad was the one that started that thing.
My word. I would think at the
Wow.
beginning there would have been a lot of resistance to that from the industry.
There was. And my father went around the world getting the top people in government, presidents, prime ministers, cabinet members, to sign a statement they would never serve alcohol in their gatherings, in their conventions.
Wow.
It's amazing.
Yes. Are we going to go to a break?
So we're at number 4. We'll come back for those other 7 risk
Okay.
factors.
Yes.
And so we'll go through
All right.
all of those.
Wonderful.
And then there's a lot more to hear. So
Yes.
we'll be right back. Don't go away. This is all about your health, our health, and living well.
We do our research.
We're shoppers.
I was hoping I could save money with Personal Express insurance.
We've had other quotes from other companies.
And in shopping around, it was the best price.
When she actually ran the numbers, I was shocked at the savings that I had.
I have checked around. Personal Express Insurance is less. They have great rates.
They're one of the lowest around that I've found.
Nobody can beat Personal Express Insurance.
Low rates with the local advantage. That's Personal Express.
The new book is out. That was easy. I would title this thing sort of a description of what raising children is like. That was easy. I've been writing columns now for about 25 years. Writing has always been a conversation. If you're taking somebody by the hand for 3 or 4 minutes, and you're not letting go. The new book, That Was Easy. Nothing easy about any of this, but we've had some fun, and I hope you guys will have some fun looking at this book.
Introducing TBC Mobile from the Bakersfield Californian. The most complete news, sports, weather, video, opinion, and lifestyle coverage in Bakersfield and Kern County. It's the easiest way to stay up to date on all things local while on the go. Read it on your smartphone or tablet. Download now by searching Bakersfield Californian in the Apple, Google, and Amazon app stores.
The Bakersfield Californian is a great read on the iPad, but did you know that the Bakersfield Californian is available on your Kindle Fire? Or how about Google's Nexus 7, the Nook? You bet. You can also read a full replica of the newspaper on your Android-powered smartphone, on Apple's iPhone, or on your laptop. We have a solution for any device. E-Edition is free for subscribers, or just $7.99 a month. The Bakersfield Californian. We're everywhere and anytime. Subscribe today. Bakersfield.com.
Kern Business Journal contains news and information from local business leaders and organizations. Topics include agriculture, health and medical, energy, real estate, and more. Visit KernBusinessJournal.com to find out how to subscribe or where to pick up a free copy. To inquire about advertising in the bi-monthly Business Journal, call 395-7586. Find us online on Facebook and Twitter, as well as on KernBusinessJournal.com.
And in this edition, Tina and I are incredibly privileged to have as our guest one of the world's foremost experts on nutrition and the science of health, maintaining, creating health, and curing and reversing disease once you get it. Tina?
Yes, thank you, Don. Yes, we're so honored to be talking with our very special guest, and he was talking before the break, and we left off at number 4 in the conversation.
Of the 7 risk factors.
Yeah, we say the 7 risk factors.
Seven
to
risk
reduce the risk of heart attack or stroke 80%.
Yes, okay.
All right, number 1 was tobacco. Number 2 is alcohol.
Okay.
Number 3 is inactivity.
Inactivity, okay.
We got to exercise at least 30 minutes a day is what everybody says, but some countries are now moving that up to 60 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so that's important, exercise. You don't have to do it all at one time.
Okay.
You can divide it up into 10-minute periods or something like that.
Right.
Okay, and you said if you have stairs like I do in my home, that can be a form of useful exercise.
Sure.
Yes.
Well, I liked gardening.
Yes, of course.
Yeah,
you like to garden and
about
cut
3 years ago, I planted 3,000 strawberry plants. And people said, what do you do with all those strawberries? They don't understand. But it's the best way to win friends, make friends of anything I've ever seen. Everybody likes strawberries.
Yes, I do.
So, number 4.
Okay.
The 4th risk factor is overweight.
Okay.
67% of the U.S. population is overweight. Half of those are obese. That means they've got a body mass index of 30 or higher. Should be under 25 to be normal. 25 is overweight, okay?
Okay.
Now, you don't
What is optimal?
Optimum, probably 22.
22, okay.
The longer alive people, they live at about that.
And where do you go to find out what your body mass index is?
All right, you can do that yourself.
Really?
Here's how you do it. You take your weight in pounds,
Okay.
multiply by the figure 704.5 to be exact.
We got a story problem going here.
Okay? and then you divide that by your height in inches twice. That's height in inches squared.
Okay.
In other words, divide that by your height in inches once, and then take that number and divide it by your height in inches a second time. And that number should come out under 25.
Okay.
See? But there's a better way even than that, is doing waist circumference.
Okay.
Your waist circumference for a woman should be no greater than 35 inches, and for men, no greater than 40 inches.
All right.
See? And what's weight have to do? It has to do with food more than it does exercise. But we still stress exercise.
Yes.
Because it increases your basal metabolic rate.
Okay.
It pulls your abdomen in before you've lost any pounds. And it's the fat in the abdomen, the fat cells there, that increases hypertension risk, diabetes risk, breast cancer risk, all that sort of thing. So that's extremely important.
Okay.
But for actually losing weight, losing pounds, it's what you eat more than it is the exercise part.
Okay.
Okay.
And your recommendations in that area as to what you eat, when you eat, how much you eat.
Yeah.
Now let me give you my one-sentence university course in nutrition.
All right.
It's all you have to know. Everything else we say about nutrition just explains why that sentence is true. This is what it is. Eat at the proper time. No snacking. Okay, eat at the proper time. A variety, not a large variety of one meal, but from meal to meal over a period of a week.
Okay.
Eat at the proper time a variety of natural, unprocessed foods in quantities to maintain ideal body weight.
Okay.
That's really the major principles you need to know.
So what is eating at proper time?
Proper time from one meal, at the end of that meal till the next one should be 5 to 6 hours apart.
Now, the current wisdom is eat a lot of small meals, 2 hours,
Yes.
3 hours apart. What about that?
Yes, they used to say you could lose weight better. And that came from a study that was done on a metabolic ward where people had no access to their kitchen to get to food. Okay? The small meals, many of them, with the same number of calories compared to large meals, they lost more weight. But the dietitians, the nutritionists state that in a free living population, it doesn't work because you can go out and get something from the kitchen. And these overweight people tend to fudge on their diet. They only ate a little piece of pie, you know.
As my mom used to say, just a sliver.
Just a sliver.
And it seems like if you give them 6 chances a day to fudge, they're going to overeat, you see. So it doesn't really work that well.
And why the 6 hour gap between what you eat?
Well, you know, you like to have the stomach have some period of rest. But it's difficult to get that food moved down the stomach. A surgeon, when he has to operate in the abdomen, he tells you not to eat anything after a certain time.
Right.
They open you up and they find out your stomach is still full. Even thought you didn't have that last meal.
Right.
Your stomach is still full, you see? It takes longer than most people think to get that food through the stomach. We used to say 4 hours. You open people up and you'll find 7, 10 hours. A lot of it's still there, you know? So we need a lot of time between meals to try to get that food out before you put in some more.
What about drinking water with meals?
Drinking water with meals, the stomach has to absorb that water before it can start digesting the solids. So we don't think that's a good idea. Drink your water between meals. And there's a lot of people sit down and eat when they're not hungry, they're thirsty. If they had taken a drink of water, a cup of water, say 20 minutes before they sat down to eat, they would have been eating not for thirst at least. You see, but there's so many people eating when they're thirsty and they think they're hungry.
Okay.
I know I've done that. So can we ask you what you had for breakfast this morning?
You know what I had? I had something that my wife designed, oatmeal waffle.
Oatmeal waffle.
I had oatmeal waffle for breakfast. You see, the usual waffle is refined white flour, and then you put syrup on top. Not the way to go. So my wife designed a good waffle recipe made with oats. It's a 2-2-2 recipe. 2 cups oats, 2 cups water, 2 tablespoons of oil, half a teaspoon of salt. Then you need some kind of carbohydrate to make it brown. Otherwise, it turns out a white waffle. And people like brown waffles. Okay, so we put maybe half a banana, little bit of applesauce, quarter of an apple, or something like that, just to give it the carbohydrate to brown it.
Okay.
But so that's what I had for breakfast. In fact, I could list for you 7 good breakfasts. You know, I believe breakfast should be the best meal of the day, the largest meal. In fact, I eat differently than most people. I eat only twice a day. I skip the evening meal.
Right.
But a lot of people losing weight are trying to skip breakfast, which is the wrong way to go. Skip the evening meal or fast one day a week or something like this.
Okay, overweight, what's next?
All right, next one. We need more fruits and vegetables. That's number 5.
Okay.
Eat more fruits and vegetables. Now, that's a shorthand way of saying don't eat something else. You can't tell the Americans to eat more of something if they're already overweight. They're going to gain more pounds until you first tell them what to eat less of. 2 categories of foods we need to eat less of. We need to eat less sugar. And the Heart Association now has a recommendation on that. No more than 6 teaspoons a day for women and 9 for men. The average American is eating 22 to 26 teaspoons a day of sugar.
And most of that in soft drinks, I assume.
A lot of that is in soft drinks, okay? So that's a big problem. The second one that we got to cut down on is meat. Now, what kind of meats? The World Cancer Research Fund has done studies to see what foods cause the most intestinal cancer. Processed meat. They hit it so hard, they came out with a recommendation, don't ever eat processed meat.
Now, we're talking about lunch meat, turkey. Salami, all of those things, the toppings we love on pizza.
Anyway, it's mostly the ham, bacon kinds of products. Okay. It's processed, it's cured, it's salted, it's smoked, it has added chemicals like sodium nitrate and stuff like that. They say don't ever eat it. Now, the American Cancer Society is a little more easygoing. They say you can have from 0 to 2 servings a week.
A week.
A week. But see, the World Cancer Group says absolutely none.
Okay.
Wow.
They say if you're used to using it, stop and don't ever start again.
Wow.
They're hitting it very hard.
Now, in your lecture, it was a real shocker when you talked about fish and chicken.
Oh, yes. Because next to the processed meats, they now say red meat is bad. Limit your amount of red meat. No more than 500 grams a day for those who like it. But the average in the community...
You've been in Europe too long. 500 grams is how much?
Oh, yeah, okay. It's 30... it's about 30 grams. Wait a minute. 30 grams an ounce.
Okay.
Something like that. Okay. So we say a serving of food is 60 grams. Okay, that's what we call a serving over in Europe. By the way, in Europe, they're eating a lot of meat. I talked to these kids in the grade school. How many of you had salami the past week? Every hand goes up. So I changed it and said, how many have you eaten it yesterday? 70% of the hands go up. They're used to salami every day. Okay? So processed meat, cut down on. Then Gary Fraser, Loma Linda University, did a study to show that even the white meats, that's your poultry, chicken, turkey, and your fish, even that caused as much intestinal cancer as red meats. That was a big shock to everybody.
It must
That
have
was a
been.
big shock to everybody because those are the best of the meats, you see, but that
Right.
still was a problem. So, but anyway, you got to tell people to eat less of something before you tell them eat more fruits and vegetables.
Well, that's
Right.
interesting.
Now, the fruits and vegetables give you potassium.
Okay.
That lowers the negative effect of sodium, for example. We're getting twice as much sodium as we are potassium, and it should be the other way around. Okay?
Okay. So we've got 2 more in the risk factor, and then that will be number 6 and 7. When we come back after the break, we are talking with Dr. John Scharfenberg, Professor of Nutrition at Loma Linda University.
Introducing TBC Mobile from the Bakersfield, California. The most complete news, sports, weather, video, opinion, and lifestyle coverage in Bakersfield and Kern County. It's the easiest way to stay up to date on all things local while on the go. Read it on your smartphone or tablet. Download now by searching Bakersfield Californian in the Apple, Google, and Amazon app stores. Kern Business Journal contains news and information from local business leaders and organizations. Topics include agriculture, health and medical, energy, real estate, and more. Visit KernBusinessJournal.com to find out how to subscribe or where to pick up a free copy. To inquire about advertising in the bi-monthly Business Journal, call 395-7586. Find us online on Facebook and Twitter, as well as on KernBusinessJournal.com.
Save 50 to 90% with the Bakersfield Californian's Daily Deal featured on Bakersfield.com. A daily deal is offered each weekday on services from local restaurants, dry cleaners, health and beauty services, retail shops, and local activities for the entire family. The daily deal is 100% local. Find these amazing deals only at dailydeal.bakersfield.com.
Hi, Corey Costello here, host of Roadrunner Rundown, Tuesdays, 10 a.m. right here on Bakersfield.com. It's the official program of CESUB Athletics. We bring you inside the program with interviews with coaches and student athletes. Of course, everybody's favorite, Corey Versus. I mean, people like to see me in embarrassing athletic situations. And, of course, we'll have all the highlights from around the Roadrunners as well. So join us for Roadrunner Rundown, Tuesdays, 10 a.m. right here on Bakersfield.com.
The Bakersfield Californian is a great read on the iPad, but did you know that the Bakersfield Californian is available on your Kindle Fire? Or how about Google's Nexus 7, the Nook? You bet! You can also read a full replica of the newspaper on your Android-powered smartphone, on Apple's iPhone, or on your laptop. We have a solution for any device. E-Edition is free for subscribers, or just $7.99 a month. The Bakersfield Californian. We're everywhere and anytime. Subscribe today. Bakersfield.com.
He's 90 years old. He's amazingly vital. He's traveling all over the world, lecturing constantly, keeping up a blistering pace that would wear out people a third his age. He's Dr. John Scharfenberger, adjunct professor.
Scharfenberg, by the way.
Scharfenberg, I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
I had an R at the end there.
I'm a vegetarian. There's no burgers in our house.
Oh, no burgers, no burgers. All right. Tina?
Yeah, we're going to be talking about, he's going to share some vegetarian meals or menus or something. But let's go back to number 6 and 7 on the risk factor.
We have these 5 factors, behavior factors.
Yes.
Then they've added 2 others. High blood sugar and high blood cholesterol level.
Okay.
So, not blood sugar, blood pressure. High blood pressure. Now, what can we do about it? Well, all these risk factors we mentioned have to do with blood pressure. If you do these things, don't smoke, don't drink, and all this kind of business, your blood pressure comes down. The second approach is vegetarian diet.
Okay.
Vegetarians have 40% lower prevalence of hypertension than non-vegetarian. So that's another approach. Third approach would be cut down on the salt. We know from the Amazon Indians, they only have a gram of salt a day. And they never get hypertension even when they get older, you see? So it's possible. But we don't believe in this country that it's going to happen because 80% of our salt is coming from packaged foods we buy. And if they make laws so stringent that they cut down the salt in the products they sell and people won't buy them, the companies would be out of business. So for practical purposes, we don't think it's going to happen. But I do have to recommend, cut down on salt, all right? And more fruits and vegetables. That means more potassium. You can feed rats a lot of potassium, and then all the salt you give them is not going to hurt them at all.
Doctor, you've mentioned that there are those who are vegetarians, and then those who get really serious about this and take it one step more and become vegans without any animal products, butter, cheese, anything like that, actually take another quantum leap in all of the indices of good health. Explain that to us.
Okay. There's only one big study that has been completed. There's another one being done in Loma Linda, but not yet completed. But there was the EPIC study in Europe, which showed that the total vegetarian, the one who doesn't use any animal products, including milk and eggs, dies a little bit sooner than the vegetarian. Just a slight difference. And it's primarily because of cancer and primarily because of colon cancer. The calcium in the milk tends to reduce the risk of colon cancer. Okay?
Okay.
The second thing is fractures. There's 37% more fractures in total vegetarians. Again, a calcium problem.
Calcium.
Okay? Calcium problem. But that did not apply to people who got 525 milligrams of calcium a day.
From what sources, if you're not...
All right. Most of them who got that much probably had a supplement. The total vegetarian. Okay. But it's hard to get it in food. For example, it's in spinach, but you have oxalic acid there, which combines with the calcium to make an insoluble salt, calcium oxalate, so you can't absorb it. But the Chinese greens, bok choy, is excellent.
Is it really?
But if you will take, say, a milk that's not cow milk, most of them are fortified with calcium. So they're trying to handle that problem now.
I see.
If you eat tofu that's set in calcium, you get more calcium.
Oh.
And if you cut down on your salt intake, you cut it in half, it's like getting 900 milligrams more pill of calcium every day.
Really?
Because it keeps you from excreting the calcium.
Okay.
If you cut down on the sodium. So I think most total vegetarians know that they need to take B12. Okay? But they need to know about calcium. And if they handle that, I think the total vegetarian diet would probably be better.
All right.
Total
All right.
vegetarian. Okay.
You mentioned politics in health, and your father running into that when he started this World Conference on not smoking, and you know, it's so hard to know where to turn for reliable information, Doctor. Where do we turn besides you?
Well, it is true that there is a lot of problem because there are a lot of people that are connected with the medicine industry, pharmaceutical industry, and they say, let's lower the cholesterol this much further, which means you have to get more statin medicines. And if they get money from the companies that make the statin pills, they're apt to vote that way, you see. So we don't go by some of their standards. We have to get good information, usually from universities. That's probably the safest from university people.
We've talked about stress, and I've heard one of the great myths about stress is not avoiding stress. It isn't stress. It isn't the challenges and difficulties we face. It's distress. It's the way we react to the challenges that we come. That stressful situations can actually be good. They can challenge our systems. They can strengthen us. Your thoughts on this?
That's true. I agree with that 100%. However, our problem has been scientific. We can't measure stress. We don't know how to measure it. We think it has to do with increasing cancer risk and heart attack risk and all this sort of thing. But we don't say so very strongly because we can't measure it. We can't prove our points very well, is all I'm saying.
Okay.
But we think it's a factor.
Okay.
But a lot of people try to say their problem is stress so they don't have to change their diet. And there are things we know you can do, like stop smoking, cut out the alcohol, change your diet, don't get overweight, all these kinds of things we know work, but a lot of people say, my problem's not that, my problem's stress. That's just because they don't want to change.
So we come back to where we started and your main point that we can really lower our risk of disease and reverse the diseases we have by simply these behavioral things that we can do for ourselves and take command and control of our own health.
That's correct. And everybody needs to know that. You don't have to be on an Obamacare insurance program. All you have to do yourself, do these things, and you lower your risk. Saves a lot of money.
Saves a lot of money.
And even the medicines we're taking, you said some of those are actually causing illnesses and death.
That's right. There's a lot of medical errors in what the patient is given compared to what was prescribed. That's number one. That's a big problem in the United States. And there's a lot of medicines people don't need. They're prescribed and they don't really need them. For example, with women with high cholesterol and no other risk factor of heart disease, the medicines were shown to increase their risk of dying by 56% compared to those who weren't put on medicines to lower their cholesterol.
Isn't that interesting? We're coming to a close. So is there anything else that you would like to share with the viewing audience?
One other thing you need to know that's the hottest topic on research and nutrition today, you need vitamin D. Most of us are not getting enough. Has to do with skin color.
We're talking about sunshine.
Oh.
Yes. The black people don't get absorbed as much as that sunshine, for example.
Oh.
They would be low on vitamin D. Vitamin D helps to reduce the risk of cancers, hypertension, a lot of things.
How can you tell if a black person doesn't get enough vitamin D?
And even elderly people don't use it so well.
Okay.
See, only way you can tell is by a blood test.
Oh.
I recommend everybody know what their vitamin D level is. And if it's low, take a vitamin D tablet.
Okay. Or get out in the sunshine?
Well, getting out in the sunshine. But you see, at my age,
Uh-huh.
I'm not absorbing it near as well.
Okay.
And then it has to go to the liver and the kidneys. And my kidneys at this age are working at half speed.
Okay.
So there are other things that we don't quite understand yet, too. Or why people who are young still have low vitamin D levels, even if they're in the sunshine.
Okay. And
Well, go ahead.
really quickly, at 90 years of age, how do you feel? Do you want, any encouraging word for other 90-year-olds?
I feel great.
Yes.
Everybody's amazed at how active I am, and I'm amazed too.
And he is, when he leaves here, he's off to Poland for 4 to 5 months to lecture throughout that area. People are really hungry to know these things that you're sharing with us so freely here. So, Dr. Scharfenberg, thank you for coming.
Yes,
We're
thank
honored
you.
to have you here.
So very honored. Thank you, Doctor. Wow. Well, when we come back, good words, and I mean really good words. So thank you so very much for staying with us.
Introducing TBC Mobile from the Bakersfield Californian. The most complete news, sports, weather, video, opinion, and lifestyle coverage in Bakersfield and Kern County. It's the easiest way to stay up to date on all things local while on the go. Read it on your smartphone or tablet. Download now by searching Bakersfield Californian in the Apple, Google, and Amazon app stores. Kern Business Journal contains news and information from local business leaders and organizations. Topics include agriculture, health and medical, energy, real estate, and more. Visit KernBusinessJournal.com to find out how to subscribe or where to pick up a free copy. To inquire about advertising in the bi-monthly Business Journal, call 395-7586. Find us online on Facebook and Twitter, as well as on KernBusinessJournal.com.
The new book is out. That was easy. I would title this thing sort of a description of what raising children is like. That was easy. I've been writing columns now for about 25 years. Writing has always been a conversation. You're taking somebody by the hand for 3 or 4 minutes, and you're not letting go. The new book, That Was Easy. Nothing easy about any of this, but we've had some fun, and I hope you guys will have some fun looking at this book.
The Bakersfield Californian is a great read on the iPad, but did you know that the Bakersfield Californian is available on your Kindle Fire? Or how about Google's Nexus 7, the Nook? You bet. You can also read a full replica of the newspaper on your Android-powered smartphone, on Apple's iPhone, or on your laptop. We have a solution for any device. E-Edition is free for subscribers, or just $7.99 a month. The Bakersfield Californian. We're everywhere and anytime. Subscribe today. Bakersfield.com.
Save 50 to 90% with the Bakersfield Californian's daily deal featured on Bakersfield.com. A daily deal is offered each weekday on services from local restaurants, dry cleaners, health and beauty services, retail shops, and local activities for the entire family. The daily deal is 100% local. Find these amazing deals only at dailydeal.bakersfield.com.
We're so glad to have the support of so many in our business community. We want to mention two of them now.
Yes, and that one would be Kern Construction and Electric. And it's on the screen there for you. The telephone number is 661-322-5554. That's 322-5554.
And BakersFit.com. Bill Robinson voted twice Bakersfield's and Kern County's best personal trainer. Wonderful to have them on board. We're talking about health. There we go. That's certainly one way to make it happen, is to really get fit.
Yes, indeed. And now it's time for our good words for the new week. This is Kelly Gladden, and she is a charity organizer in the community. Welcome, Kelly.
Thank you for having me on.
Welcome.
Learn to love yourself and be true to yourself. My come to Jesus moment started my journey of self-discovery. I had just divorced my husband of 25 years, lost my job, and bought a new home, all in the same week. I was all alone for the very first time in my whole life. No furniture, just me and my empty bedroom. While laying in a fetal position on the floor, I cried for hours. I knew God had a plan for me, and I was so tired of trying to control my life myself. So I prayed for guidance. I needed answers, and I wanted them now. Who am I? Am I living the life that I was meant to live? Was I truly happy? Did it matter what other people thought? Did I like myself or even love myself? I knew I was tired of pretending to be perfect. After praying, I felt a warm inner peace that I've never felt before. I got up, made a list, set goals, and decided for once to let God be in control. If you think that was easy, ponder these thoughts. After discovering who you really are, can you still love yourself? Maybe you wish you could have behaved or done something differently in your life. Perhaps you thought that you took the wrong path. But it's okay. It's time to forgive yourself. This is where the self-denial stops and the healing begins. It's really hard to push forward in life when you subconsciously sabotage yourself. There are many circumstances that you need to address that you haven't. Now's the time so you can move forward. Be true to yourself means to act in accordance with who you are and what you believe in. Oscar Wilde once said, "Be yourself, because everyone else is taken." Yet, you can't be yourself if you don't know, understand, and accept yourself first. This should be your primary goal in life. Just as you cannot love anyone else until you love yourself, you cannot be true to anyone until you're true to yourself. Be who you are. Have the courage to accept who you really are. Not what someone else wants you to be or thinks that you should be. Do not pretend to be someone else for the sake of mere acceptance. Self-respect comes from being true to yourself, who you really are. It's time to walk the talk. When you are true to yourself, you allow your individuality and uniqueness to shine through. You respect the opinions of others, but don't conform to their beliefs of what you should be or stereotypes of you. To be true to yourself takes courage. It requires you to be sincere, open-minded, and fair. It doesn't mean that you're inconsiderate, boastful, disrespectful of others. It simply means that you will not let anyone else define you or determine who you should be in life. Be true to yourself. Be the very best that you can be. Live your life to the fullest. Stop caring about what everyone else wants you to be. Some people will like you, some won't. So what? As Eleanor Roosevelt once said, nobody can make you feel inferior but you. And what matters most is that you listen to your own inner confidence and that you start developing it. After this painful lesson, I was only then ready for God's blessings. I am so blessed with an inner peace now that I would have never had I not opened the door to listen. Thank you.
Kelly,
Tina,
thank you.
What powerful words.
Yes.
I'll tell you what, and you know, we're talking about health, and there's a wonderful book called The Power Immune Personality by Henry Dreher, and it actually goes through the scientific research of the health benefits of coming to grips with the very questions that she asked herself, going down into yourself with full disclosure, being able to tell others, tell yourself, and tell God who you really are, affirm that, and move forward, that they can actually now, the technology, they can actually measure the activity of the white T cells, the things that strengthen our immune system, and they just begin to come alive and vibrate. And so there's such tremendous health benefits in just doing what she shared with us today.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much, Kelly.
It's really a pleasure.
Whew. Wow, Dawn, and I see you love yourself. I love myself too. I know. Dawn, listen, let's go on to our Denise Haddock segment because she's here to talk to us about voter registration.
I am, and thank you so much for having me.
Welcome, welcome.
You do this
Thank
for
you.
us every week, and now you're here to share something very important with us.
A little bit diverse, you might say, but yes. As the chair of voter registration for Bakersfield Republican Women, I am here to give you information about registering to vote. We do have a primary coming up June the 3rd, and the last day to register to vote, if you are not registered, is May 19th. You must be a United States citizen. You must be a California citizen living in your precinct 30 days to be able to register to vote. You must be 18 years old as well.
Okay.
You know, voting is it's just the heart of our democracy, voting and elections, just that ability to do that. So many people have fought and died for that privilege that we have. It is also our constitutional right to be able to do that, to vote too. So we are particularly concerned right now about our youth and targeting getting them to vote, to register to vote too. We have 95% of all teenagers or youth 18 to 34 are online. Only 59% of the eligible voters 18 to 24 are registered to vote. So there's a gap there that we need to really, really target and get them in there. They are our up-and-coming leaders as well. So.
Denise, there seems to me to be such widespread discouragement and cynicism. We register to vote. We do what we think is important for democracy, and then the majority casts its will, and then the court just wipes it out. It's gone. Or we send people to office, and then lobbyists come in with all of their money, and they buy the policies that they want. And it seems like our votes, our will as the people is just getting shoved more and more to the side. How do we deal with that?
You know, it really is so important. And there have been, you know, there are research that shows that there have been elections won and lost over one vote. And yes, it is. There are people who are registered who don't vote. I have a dear friend, and I'll say, "You need to vote. You need to vote." And I'll say, it doesn't matter anymore. And I'll say, no, it does. It really does matter. Our votes still count. And it is very important that we all get out. That's one of my things I say is, don't grumble, vote. You know, some people, they sit and they look at their television and they yell at it. And it's like, no, don't do that. That does nothing. Get out and vote. You know, it's really.
So your advice is hang in there, keep
Yes.
plugging, and
Absolutely.
and make our will known, and eventually, the will of we the people will prevail.
Will prevail. Absolutely.
Where are some of the voting registration sites around the county?
You can register online. Online is a really big new thing that you can do, and that's one of the big ones for the youth, is because they are online so much, they can register to vote there.
Okay.
The website is registertovote.ca.gov.
All right.
Registertovote.ca.gov.
Well, we've talked about personal health. Now we've talked about the health of the Republic and our
Yes.
role in supporting it. So, Tina,
Yes.
take us out.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, to our sponsors and everyone. We love you, and I'm happy I love myself.
God bless.
See you next time.